Good afternoon and welcome back to Questioning Sense with me, Matt. Hope you guys are well. Hope all is going swimmingly in your world as they are here. Yeah, not a lot to say really. Tickety-boo, everything is carrying on as normal. What I will say though is the weather has affected this particular video. I've got a ton of videos to get done. Work's gone mad again, so I'm running out of time. But I'm just so sick of this weather. It's sunny, then it's wet, then it's cold, then it's sunny, and it's driving me mad. So I've been thinking a lot about fresh fragrances and, you know, fantasizing about when I finally get to wear them again. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at 9 fragrances that I consider to be my favourite Freshies. Now, they're not the 100%, there's no Berger Musk in this, there's no New York Intense or anything like this. What I'm looking at are my favourite, under the radar, if you want for a better phrase, Freshies that we don't hear so much about, that I think are well worth exploring. Some are going to be very familiar to you because I've talked about them a fair bit, and some you're not going to know, hopefully you're not going to know too much about. So try to keep it, you know, sort of vaguely fresh, I suppose. So what we'll do is, they're in no particular order, although I do think the number one will be the number one. We're going to have a little chat about them, and just, you know, how you can wear them, what they're like, and if they're worth you exploring them or not. So here we go. We have 9 whistle stop tour, as you would expect, of 9 fresh fragrances. Okay, so first up, we're going to look at this one, which is a Dunhill edition. Now, I've not done an individual review for this one, but it has popped up, I think, in another kind of list video. But this is lovely. The only problem is with it, it's incredibly fresh, it's spicy, it's got lemon, it's got some nutmeg, it's got some other spices in there. Beautiful, gentlemanly cologne style vibe. The only issue is with it, the performance is shocking. Really doesn't last, but it just smells absolutely divine. And I think you can get it for like £10 or something. So please consider this one. If you want something that's very much in the kind of the aftershave sort of world, after you've had a shave, after you've had a shower or something like that, and you want to freshen up, you want to smell great, if you're only popping out for a couple of hours, it's perfect. Don't expect much more performance than that, which is a real shame, but it smells beautiful. I keep this bottle purely for the smell. It's not one that I wear to work or anything like that, but it is a lovely one to wear around the house in the evening. It really does feel really quite zingy and fresh, but that, I don't know, there's a spiciness to it that makes it very, very exciting. So Dunhill edition, I mean, if you could get a vintage one, I think the performance is better. This is the latest incarnation, and as I say, the performance is shocking, but it does smell amazing, so it's well worth exploring. Next up, we're going with, from Cadlage, Oud Pour Classic. This is a polar opposite to the Dunhill. This is a beast mode. This is a fresh, citrusy, watery rose, semi-aquatic beast of a fragrance. Now, the reason I've put this one in here, it's not a classic freshie, but it does keep you smelling fresh and clean forever. As I mentioned in the review of this one, the company, Cadlage, do say that this lasts for 48 hours. I've never gone 48 hours without having some kind of shower, bath or wash, so I've no idea whether that's true or not. But what I will say is if I wear this to work, it beasts all shift. So it lasts as long as you let it last. But it is lovely, and it has got a really kind of masculine and attractive quality to it. This freshness, this watery rose, this almost ozonic, aquatic vibe to it is really rather lovely. This is an excellent quality fragrance. You can get this through Aroma Concepts, and obviously there is QS10, which is a discount code for my subscribers, so you can get 10% off that one. Really, really worth exploring. I think this is going to, you know, I absolutely love this one. As you can see, you know, that's a 100ml bottle, and I've hammered that. The wife has started wearing it as well, which, there you go. Means I'm going to have to hide it. Okay. Next up, one that I talk about fairly quite a lot, and that is from Mancera, and this is Oud Lemon Mint. Very fresh, but not a complete freshie because of the almond note that comes in, and it does make it a little bit powdery. But it's really, really nice. It's lovely in warm weather, and it's, I don't know, it's just, obviously it's a long-lasting fragrance as well. It's not a beast. I mean, I keep hearing a lot of debate about this. Now, maybe because my one's a magnetic cap, and maybe the older ones were a bit bigger in performance, but this to me is not a beast at all, but it does last a very long time. And what I like about it, I will definitely consider this one a Freshies, because when I wear it for work, Again, if it's warm or whatever, this just seems to grow and keep me smelling lovely and clean and fresh. If you like, I mean, it's called Oud Lemon Mint. I don't really get much mint from it. I do get a kind of a light minty-esque vibe, but it's not really a minty fragrance. It's more about this sort of almondy citrus and that sort of classic Mancera kind of oud, but it's a bit restrained in this one. It's not, you know, it's not unpleasant at all. And if you don't mind a synthetic smelling perfume, you could do a lot worse than this. This is a really good perfume, especially if, you know, if you're out and about and you know you're going to be out all day and you want to keep just sort of smelling quite cool, quite clean, quite fresh, you'll do a lot worse than this one. It also can be had for bargains at discounters if you play that. You know, sometimes it goes out for really, really top money, and other times places like All Beauty or Latino have it very heavily discounted. So keep your eyes peeled and you will pick it up as a bargain. Okay. Next up, from the Executive Shaving Company, we have Mond. This is a beautiful, it's an incredibly fresh, clean, masculine perfume, but it's not gone down the citrus route. It's gone down a very sort of herbal, slightly floral route to get to its freshness. It's an it's an EDP, and it lasts a very long time. When I reviewed this, I was really positive about it, and I've grown to love it even more. This is just perfect. Because it lasts so long and it's got that very clean, gentlemanly vibe, I have been wearing this an awful lot. This is a 50ml bottle, which I think is about £35. And as you can see, I've absolutely hammered it. And I do have to apologise, because when I reviewed this, I didn't realise just how much it smells like Tom Ford's Beau de Jour. Now, it's not a complete clone, and I'm not saying for 1 minute it is, but what it does is it really reminds me of the Beau de Jour. And I think personally, this outperforms it as well. In fact, so much so, I gave a couple of mil of this to a friend of mine who has both. He wore them side by side, and he's now selling his Tom Ford and he's buying Mond. So there you go. I can't give it a bigger endorsement than that. This is an excellent, long-lasting, masculine, modern-ish smelling old school cologne, if you like. It isn't it doesn't smell vintage, it doesn't smell that old, but it's in that oldie worldy style. But it has been brought up to date. There is a sort of a few modern quirks to it that make it very wearable. I think it'll be one for the more mature fragrance enthusiast. I don't think the thrusters will love this one because it's not sweet. Sorry, thrusters, I can't get it out of my head that young people don't wear sweet fragrances, so I could be way off the mark. Okay, next up, another new one-ish to me, and this is by Richard James of Savile Row, and this is called A Blade of Grass. Now, this is a really interesting fragrance. It was a complete blind buy for me, and a very successful one too. This is really rather lovely. This is a green, sweet perfume. I got it in TK Maxx. I think it normally retails for around £60 to £80, depending on where you get it. I have seen it online for around £40. But if you like a green, sweet fragrance, there's some tea in this. You have notes of fig tree in this. You have obviously the grass, you have some vetiver, and it's a fresh, sweet one. As it dries, I mean, when you spray it, by the way, this just projects everywhere for the first sort of half an hour. It just screams. It's quite unbelievable. And then it starts to calm right down and become more vetiver, and then you get this lovely kind of mossy vibe to it, and then it goes from like a very modern, fresh, loud green fragrance into a much more restrained, befitting of a company from Savile Row, gentlemanly oak moss driven fragrance. Really rather good. Performance-wise, I'm not entirely sure about this one because it's one I go nose blind to, sadly. And that's purely because whenever I've worn it, I've oversprayed it and it is so fierce in the opening. It really does chuck out everywhere. And then when it dries down, I kind of lose it. But I think that's because my nose has been battered into submission. So it's worth exploring. It's going to be a difficult one to sample. But if you find it in TK Maxx like I did for under £20, it's certainly worth a blind buy. Purely because it's such a classy, green, fresh smell. And you often find with a lot of fresh fragrances, they don't have that much sweetness to them. Whereas this is really rather sweet. I sent Rich up a sample of it and he absolutely adored it. So I think he's on the hunt for a bottle as well. So have a look out for that one. And that's called Blade of Grass, and that's from Richard James, Savile Row. Okay, next up, another old school one. Giorgio, Beverly Hills Pour Homme. Look how much of that I've used. A 100ml bottle of this costs about £12. It's incredibly long lasting. It's a beautiful lemon driven aldehyde opening floral, beautiful fragrance. It dries down as a little bit, other people have been picking up on the honey in it. I don't really get so much honey in this, but you've got all sorts going on. Very old school, very classic, very gentlemanly, but lovely stuff. and it just lasts all day. The performance on this is absolutely excellent. I would go as far as to say that this is probably the best bargain in the, in Fragcom at the moment. I don't think you're going to get better than that. If you like a gentlemanly, sort of fresh, citrusy, old school vibe, I think this is adorable as a perfume. I've worn it to work an awful lot, and people generally pick up on it. And when I'm in an area where I don't have to wear a mask, if I'm working in the team that I'm in a bubble with or something like that, you generally get some good positive comments from it. So I really, really enjoy this one, and I thoroughly recommend it. If you like an old school vibe, then you can certainly blind buy this one. Well worth it, and it will certainly keep you fresh. Okay, the final three. And let's have another look at another old school bargain. And here we have it. Azzaro Pour Homme L'Eau. Fantastic fragrance. This is an absolute bargain at the moment. You can find it in TK Maxx. You can find it all over the shop. I've not had it long, and I've been hammering it. This little 50ml bottle costs, I think it was £16. And this is beautiful. If you like the original Azzaro Pour Homme, which is often cited as one of the best barbershops you can get, and I'm not really going to argue with that one, you will love this. So what they've done is they've taken that very old school barbershop and they've spruced it up, and they've added some sparkling grapefruit and some sweet watery yuzu to give this whole new dimension to the fragrance. The first hour is really rather different to the old school Azzaro, and then I love the way it just blends into the old school Azzaro style barbershop fragrance. This is such a lovely one. It's a very modern take on an old school vibe, and I think they've done it so well. It's not as peppery as the old one. It's not as heavy, it's light, it's airy, and it smells really rather youthful. So this is, kind of like an old school freshie that the younger thrusters will definitely enjoy, because the yuzu in this, that brings that really sweet citrus to it. It's just, it's so lovely. And you've got the freshness from the grapefruit. It works so well. I think grapefruit is becoming one of my favourite notes in a fresher fragrance. And it's, it's no coincidence that I'm absolutely adoring this. So I think you can blind buy this. If you see it online for cheap, blind buy worthy, yes it is. It's not an expensive fragrance. It lasts quite well. It's, it lasts as well as the old one. Not the original, because that has a completely different composition. And the first sort of, generation of Azzaro Pour Homme are obviously very, very strong lasting fragrances. The modern one is about 6 to 7 hours, and I get exactly the same from this, but it's got a much louder and brighter opening. It's a beautiful perfume. I'm surprised I don't hear a lot more about this. I don't think it was a particularly successful flanker when it was released, and I think it's kind of been destined for rack stores, as you call them in the States, or the likes of TK Maxx in the UK. But this is really worth having. I absolutely love this one. This is a perfect nipping down the pub for a couple of pints. Yes, if you're not quite sure what to wear, you've got some friends coming around, go for this. If you're, kind of in the garden with your family, perfect. And as I say, for me, this is such a perfect, I've got an hour, I'm going to run down the pub and see my mates. Use that. Perfect stuff. So that is Azzaro Pour Homme L'Eau. Quite a nice little bottle as well. Okay, number 2. We're going to have a look at Extreme Niche from Swedoff. Now, I've spoken about this quite a lot, and this is an absolutely amazing fragrance. Again, this is just so fresh. There's ginger, there's citruses. It just sets the world on fire with its freshness, if that's possible. But beautiful, beautiful opening. It then has a little bit of oud, and it starts to come down and stop being quite as fresh. But my gosh, that cardamom that's in here, the ginger, it's just, I'm going to spray a little bit now. I love this stuff. It's just, it just keeps you so fresh at work, and it smells so unique. It's just a really, really a good fragrance. It's a little bit more expensive than the others, but it's entirely worth it. If you haven't tried this, please get a sample of it, because I think this is going to be one of the sort of hits of the summer as more and more people try it. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Another one, look, 100ml bottle, and I've smashed it to bits, and it's not even been that hot yet. So there you go, highly recommended. Okay, and now my number 1, my favourite fresh fragrance at the moment is Overdose by Oman Luxury. This is another one that uses grapefruit, and it does it so well. The fragrance is like a fizzy citrus in the beginning. You have about 3 different types of orange citrus. You have mandarin, you have orange, and obviously you have the grapefruit. They combine to make this almost like an assault of freshness that hits you. It just bounces out at you. Very, very potent stuff in the beginning. As this kind of thing, you really are getting the overdose. as the Overdose seems to be taking over everything, you'll get this salty ambergris come through that just kind of calms everything down, and then it becomes a lot softer and a lot easier. Not easier, but a lot calmer, shall we say. But the freshness and it's just such a wake up. It's just, if you're coming out of a shower in the morning and you want to wake up, spray some of this, and this will absolutely make your day. Fabulous, fabulous stuff. This is another one we're going to be hearing a lot about. Now, they have had a redesign. So this is the old style packaging. The new bottles are a lot less kind of gaudy, I suppose. I mean, I find this one quite cool, but the new ones are absolutely beautiful. So this is my #1 Freshie at the moment, and I absolutely love this one. As you can see, again, another one I've been wearing an awful lot. So please try and sample this one. This is about £100 for 100 ml, so it's not a cheapie per se, but it's not that much more expensive than a lot of modern designers out there. But it's a fantastic, unique and exciting fresh fragrance. You will smell divine. Anyone can wear this. This is totally unisex. This is ageless. The thrusters will love it, as well as the more mature fragrance enthusiasts. Excellent stuff from Oman Luxury. So there we have it. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you've got some food for thought and some fragrances to explore. If you've tried any of these, please let me know and we can have a little chat about it, or hit me up on Instagram, or leave some comments under the video. Anyway, listen guys, I hope you're well. Sorry the videos are becoming a bit more sporadic. As London comes back to life and everything opens up, my job has got me running around even more. So it's getting a little bit harder to film videos. But don't worry, we will resume normal service and keep getting them out as best we can. But listen guys, thank you very much for your time. It's always a pleasure making these videos, and I hope to see you very soon on the next video. Cheers, thanks, and bye.